we'll hear from 8 actresses behind the year's most talked about performances.
I had my first real sex scene a couple weeks ago.
When you say real sex scene, you mean penetration?
No. No, yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Real, yeah, that's normal, right?
If I ever had children, which I don't, the first thing I'd teach a girl of mine is the word fuck off.
We did actually do a pee test.
Was it real pee?
It wasn't real. It wasn't real. Tell them.
So if you were, look,
Because you can't piss on
where did
cue.
You can't keep doing it on
Cate Blanchett, Carol and Truth. Kate Winslet, Steve Jobs. Helen Mirren, Woman in Gold. And Trumbo, Brie Larson. Room. Carrie Mulligan, Suffragette. Jane Fonda, Youth. Charlotte Rampling, 45 years. Jennifer Lawrence, Joy. I'm going to start with a simple question. Why do you act?
That's not a simple question.
I said that with some irony. Kate.
I have to.
That with me.
I would.
Is someone forcing you at will?
I don't know.
Do you mean why do you act or why you're an actress?
Is there a difference?
Well, yes, because the act. Why do you act? Well, because I'm paid to, because I have to turn up, because I like the director on many, many different reasons. But why are you an actress? Why did you choose that? I think I became an actress because I discovered the world of the imagination when I was about 14 or so. I mean, in terms of literature. And the concept that you could engage in this amazing world of storytelling. I came to it through Shakespeare, sort of discovered Shakespeare as a thing of storytelling. I saw a production of Hamlet, and I didn't know that Hamlet died in the end. Can you imagine?
You gave it away for our audience.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I know. Well, hopefully no one under the age under the age of 18 is watching this, or under the age of 10 anyway. But anyway, Shakespeare's an amazing storyteller. So
Kate, why do you act? Or why are you an actress?
I don't know, it's a bit like asking you why you love somebody. I mean, you know you do. I don't want to sound too wanky, but for me, it's a vocation. And in that end, I feel like I didn't choose it, it chose me. I am constantly saying, and all those out-of-work actors will probably tell me to shut up and I'll have to commit ritual suicide, but I'm always trying to not do it, to be honest. And then you get a call from Martin Scorsese or Todd Haynes or whoever, Ivo Van Hove, or, and then you get drawn back into it. But I think it's, for me, the most difficult thing is the monologue, like sitting here, being forced to answer a question or to, sit there and deliver it. I find that incredibly lonely. And for me, it's being in dialogue with people.
It's weird, isn't it? Because it can be lonely, actually. I think especially when you're younger. I remember looking back on my life when I was 21, 22, and really remembering that feeling of, God, okay, we finished work now, and now I'm going to go back to this funny, strange place where they've put me, which is probably extremely comfortable. And then there's doing the work for the next day or the next week. But those moments of going, wow, I'm doing this by myself. And what is interesting out of that question is, who do you act for? Yeah. I remember being asked that when I was younger and thinking, oh my God. I was in a room with lots of really scary people like Kenneth Branagh and Derek Jacobi, and everyone said a parent, actually. Every single person. And we went fully round a table and everyone said a parent, and I sat there thinking, oh, shit. Because
you mean in terms of acting as being a way of seeking approval? Because it's that whole thing, isn't it, that actors want to be liked.
Exactly.
And in a way, that doesn't interest me at all.
Me too.
And what I love about the theatre is that you know who you're acting for, your audience, and the thing the thing I find really hard in film is that you don't, it's invisible, the audience is invisible, and we're sitting here talking, hoping that someone's going to listen. What are they going to, they're going to watch this? There's other people out there.
My agent.
It's such a weird question.
Myself, I wouldn't have, if I hadn't found it, I would have never been able to make sense of all of these bizarre things that I'm sure we all had when we were kids. Why, if I think something, do I feel it? When you're young, before you're acting, that just makes you feel crazy. Like I convinced my entire bus that we were being held up for ransom because I was reading about it and was just like, it's real.
Well.
So I have an outlet, and now I understand what it is, or otherwise I would have felt mentally insane. I act for myself. I really love it. I don't think there's a way that we could
I'm with you
handle
on that,
these
yeah.
schedules and all of the work, the actual work that goes into it. If you don't really love it, I don't see how anyone would be able to do it.
What do you love and what do you not love about it, Jane?
Well, I didn't never wanted to be an actor. My dad was an actor, and he never brought joy home. So I didn't view it as something that I would want to do. But I got fired as a secretary. And then I started studying, and Lee Strasberg said I was talented, so I started doing it just to earn money. And it took me a long time to learn to love it. And what I loved was telling a story. You know, I tried to avoid making plays or films that weren't telling a story that I felt was important or wanted to say. And what I discovered in the process is it makes you become more empathic, because you have to enter someone else's reality. And so you learn to see through many other people's eyes. And so I find actors tend to be very compassionate and empathic. And
Do you all agree with that?
Yes, absolutely.
Because that is what acting
They get
is.
such a bad rap, but actually, actors are amazingly generous and supportive. of
And there's
each other.
nothing like it in the world, I think, that feeling, if you're lucky enough to get a rehearsal period on a film. That, for me, is almost the most exciting bit, because to be in that space with those actors and a great director, there is literally nowhere else like it in the world.
And what is totally terrifying is that, unlike a musician who has a musical instrument or a painter that's got a canvas and a brush, this is us. Our energy, our soul, our spirits. And if that shuts down, you know, it's so hard because it's so vulnerable. You're exposing everything.
If Lee Strasberg hadn't liked you, what would you have done as the crew?
I probably would have become a landscape architect.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
What about the rest of you? Brie, what would you have done?
Oh, I quit many times. It was too hard. So I went back to college a couple of times to be a photographer, and then an interior designer, and then at the real depths of it, I wanted to be an animal trainer. That was like a real low point. It was a very low point.
For all you animal trainers out there.
Sorry, but that was...
What triggered the lowest point?
There was this role. I mean, I had started acting when I was 7, and I was always wrong. I would always get to the very end, but because I always wanted to become somebody else, I wasn't a perfect package of one thing. I wasn't a cliche, and so it always worked against me. I wasn't pretty enough to play the popular girl. I wasn't mousy enough to be the mousy girl. So I never fit in. And so I'd get close, but they'd be like, try these sides or try these. And I wasn't a cliche. So I never got anywhere with anything. And it was really painful. And then there was a TV show on Showtime that Toni Collette was starring in, and Steven Spielberg was the creator of. And Toni Collette was my absolute hero. She's amazing, because she was the first person that I really watched disappear into roles, so much so that I didn't even know she was in the same movies. And so when this role came, and it was to play a girl who was struggling with identity and who was a little bit of everything, I thought, oh, this is what I was supposed to do. Everything's leading up to this moment. I was 18. I was like, this is it. And I tested for it and didn't get it. And I was so devastated by it that I was like, okay, I'm 18. I should probably be in college. I've been doing this for 11 years now and nothing's happened. It's a very weird thing. I mean, it's super surreal being at this table right now, because my dream was when I was 7. Everybody has dreams, and there's a lot of people that dream of being an actor, and it's I feel like you're constantly questioning yourself with those no's as to, is this another moment that I take and I can use this towards the craft at another time? Or am I just delusional? Am I just completely insane? And what's interesting is how many times I did take a step back, which I am so grateful for, because I think that getting pulled back into it, feeling like you're getting the call is what drives me to act, I guess. It's not that I have to do it. It's not a job to me, and I feel more comfortable doing it, knowing that I could do something else. But I think where you're coming from is the same place for me too, where it has to be the thing that like sucks you back into the vortex, because otherwise it's just too hard, and it's very vulnerable, and it's very draining.
Do you find the same thing, Carrie?
Yeah, I mean, I like Kate said, it's felt, without sounding wanky, like vocational. And I remember when I did The Seagull, there's a line Nina says, I'm a proper actress now, and when I think about my vocation, I'm not afraid of life. And that's always kind of, I think it's sort of a way of dealing with life. You know, it's something that you love and something you love doing, but it also does, like Jen said, like make sense of everything for you. And you are empathetic because of it, and you are compassionate because of it, because you put yourself into lots of different bodies and never judge them for the way that they live their life. And,
Are you ever afraid of acting?
yeah, all the time.
What about everybody else?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
The
of course.
entire time.
Yeah, absolutely, it never stops.
And don't you hope it
Younger
doesn't?
actors say, "Are you, you know, do you as you get older, you've done it more? You know, does the fear go?" No, it
gets worse.
Gets worse.
Jennifer,
actually.
how about you?
Yeah, I get scared of each before every movie, before every character, because I never feel like I have it, because I don't find who they are yet. When I read the script or in rehearsals or in anything, it's this very annoying thing that I've learned about myself. It's not until I'm in costume, and sometimes, unfortunately, it's a week into the movie.
Oh, wow.
God, just a week.
And then I find it. or I'll watch the movie and be like, oh. So I'm always terrified before every movie because I go, I haven't found her. I don't know yet. I don't
But how do
get
you
it.
do it, actually, until you start doing it? That's the thing.
Yeah. I just start
It's actually
talking.
until you start
I don't
doing
know,
it, you're actually
weirdly,
not going to be, because it's a
costume
form
works.
of incarnation that you need, isn't it? That you
Yeah.
don't have. It's sort of like, it's just immaterial until then.
Well, and it's not real yet.
It's not
I think
real at
I
all.
didn't.
No.
I rehearsal and all of that stuff. I like it and I'll do it, but I don't. It still doesn't feel
exactly.
real to me yet until it's go time.
Yeah.
And then we talk about empathy. I mean, that's exactly what it is. That is what acting is just feeling sympathy or empathy for whoever this person is.
You sort of had the opposite experience from Brie, where you had success very young.
Yeah.
And I wonder did you ever think of giving up? Did you ever think I'm making a mistake with this profession?
No, I didn't think I was making a mistake, but I did. I had a 5-year plan. I was going to give it 5 years, and if that didn't work out, I was going to go back to Kentucky and become a nurse.
Really?
Yeah. And I still think I'm a doctor.
Would you have been a good nurse?
I think so.
I really think I mean,
a great nurse. I don't know if I'd let you put me under.
No, I'm not good with math. You know,
Okay, that's
dealing
not-
with like your propofol, but
yeah, you
I
take
think
my
I have
bedpan
great
just
medical
fine.
instincts.
What else would everybody have done if you hadn't acted? Did you ever think of other jobs? Because you started early too, Kate. Your family were actors.
Well, my dad was an actor, and my older sister is an actress, and so I very much remember thinking, well, of course I'll do that as well. A little bit like, well, my sister's got a new bike, well, I've better have a go on that bike. It was sort of a little bit like that, really. I never, ever thought of myself as an actor who would be in films, ever. I always only thought of myself being lucky enough, maybe, to be cast in a play, perhaps, or a musical, and maybe to get the odd episode of Casualty. I mean, I never thought bigger than that. And my backup plan was probably to do something with children, to have either started a nursery school or work with underprivileged kids in some way. That was what I always, I don't know, I suppose I had in my back pocket. And still almost dream of maybe doing, in part, in some way. I've always got children in my house, always.
I didn't know that Kate had 4 children until we were just before this roundtable. Has that changed your view professionally, having kids? Does it make it less important for you?
What, the children or the job?
Does it make the job less important?
No, I just think you have to become, I mean, you've just had a little one, sweet little bean. It just makes you really economical. All of the stuff that I thought, that I loved and enjoyed, all of researching around, you just don't have time to do it. But it's also made me more fearless, because I think a lot of the research that one does, the rehearsal that one does for film, is really just a process to stave off the anxiety of doing it, as you say. It's that stand-up nature of like, well, I'm just going to do this shit, and it's either going to be really embarrassing or it's going to be kind of in the right direction, and you've got no time to be frightened in a way.
Do you find it harder for women than for men in the film business?
I was just going to say, I'd just like to add, I think it's hard for young women too, and it's very interesting, Brie saying, I wasn't pretty enough to be the pretty girl, and I wasn't unattractive enough to be the dorky girl. I'm sorry, because there's lots of other different roles for young women than the
so
pretty
many
girl
different
or
ways
the.
to be.
Do you see what I mean? So
But I think that's what we're all
I think it's hard for
doing,
young
and that's
girls as well.
That's the paving the way, is like finding the roles that have the complication, instead of it always being like, a woman is just like this. She's the one that's always got it together, or she's the dedicated housewife, or she's the wild one who smokes cigarettes and sleeps with anybody. Like, you can be both.
Do you find it good to find good roles? Sorry.
We have a technical issue. It's going to take 1 minute.
Oh, was that blue thing?
I'm the only one.
I saw that.
I thought it was a special effect.
I know, I thought it was a cool dramatic breeze talking.
Is it hard to find good roles? Is there a shortage of good roles?
In Hollywood or in real life?
Well, I mean, I'm told over 40, although what I did when I was in my 40s is I simply made my own movies and produced my own movies because no one offered me anything. And so that worked out. But certainly, you know, after 50, it's hard for a woman, which is why television is such a welcoming thing.
But why aren't people
Exactly, and
writing
I
more
think-
of those roles?
Well,
I
so much is made of, you know, good, strong roles for women. Actually, it's really interesting playing vulnerable people
No,
as
it
well.
says
But
all
also,
the best.
people
The
always say
weakness
you played
is
such
the
a
best.
strong character. And I remember someone said that to me when I played a role in Shame, and she was like a suicidal mess.
Yeah.
And I said, she's not strong at all. She's
What does that
incredibly
mean?
weak. But
Yeah.
strong
Like
to
luminous,
people
what does that
means
mean?
real. It means that you believe that that's a person who exists, as opposed to some, you know, two-dimensional depiction of women, which is these dorky girls.
You've written about the pay gap between men and women. I sort of find it interesting that you're taking a stance on issues like Jane. You're very brave for much of your career. Is that going to change? And has there been a backlash to you in writing your opinion?
I mean, there's always a backlash in everything that you do, but it's not going to stop or change anything. It didn't change. Well, nobody would have had backlash against you, right? I think it's getting better. I think the road is definitely narrowing, but it's not only an issue in Hollywood. You know, when you're asking about roles for men or women, men certainly have a longer shelf life. Men can play the sexy lead for 20 years longer than we can.
That's just because it's mostly dudes in charge who are deciding that.
Yeah.
They're like, no, you're fine.
Yeah,
but
no, men are
chicks,
still sexy,
fix
but
that.
yeah.
But it's lazy thinking across all industries. I mean, we're at the pointy end, probably the most the most public end. But what industry do women receive equal pay for equal
Well,
work?
across
I mean,
all
I
fields,
can't
women
think
are
of any.
generally paid 21% less than
Yeah.
men.
What can you do to change that?
Talk about it, make people aware of it. I mean, that was all I felt like I could do.
I love the way you. I love the way you wrote about it because you wrote about it very, very simply and personally, and recognised your own reaction. And I so recognise that thing you said about I didn't want to be an asshole. You know, I didn't want to. You know, I wanted to be polite. We've got to stop being polite. I've always said if I ever had children, which I don't, the first thing I'd teach a girl of mine is the word "fuck off." The first
Very
word.
un-English.
Well, quite British,
But just to say it's so you can take a stance. It's good, and I've been too polite. I'd so identified with what you said. Absolutely, of wanting to be charming, wanting to be nice, wanting to be.
Yeah, it's really commendable how you have taken your own situation and really been extremely articulate with it. I mean, hats off to you, Jen.
Yeah.
But we spoke before this roundtable, and you were saying that you
Didn't like it.
The British thing in me on a red carpet when a journalist's there with a microphone in your face, you just go, "Oh, I don't want to talk about money." Don't you think? I don't know how you guys feel, but
you don't have
it's,
to.
No,
is
it's
it
definitely
money
a
or is
British.
it sexism that you don't want to talk
No,
about?
money. It's absolutely the money thing. Because and it literally is that question, truly. I mean, it's very hard. At a round table like this a couple of weeks ago, a journalist full on said to me, "Do you know if you got paid less than Michael Fassbender?" I never want to be asked that question. I never want to have to answer it. And that side of it I do find vulgar. Because what it does is it lifts the lid and suddenly journalists are asking questions that are really uncomfortable to answer. And so that's, so for me, and it is a British thing, we are taught not to talk about money with your friends, let alone publicly. Yeah. So that's why I've had a little bit of a hard time with it, just because it's meant that the questioning has actually become really aggressive.
But it's also about context. I mean, viewers were talking before just about the proliferation of outlets that one has to, when you're proud of a film, you want to talk about it. You want it to reach an audience, but there's so much stuff. And that somehow a comment that one makes in a very specific context about a very specific subject is taken completely out of context. And then in the connective, it must happen to journalists all the
do you keep
time.
a
The third
private
paragraph
life?
goes missing.
I've always just been really private. I don't mind being at home. I don't like big... I was kind of made for this life. I don't know if you guys feel that way. Like, I like being home. I have all my same friends.
When you say home, you mean Kentucky or?
No, I don't know. But a house,
home,
wherever I'm living. A house. I don't know. I just am private. I just don't really go out a lot.
Several of you live
That
away
sounds-
from the epicenter of Hollywood. Is that easier or harder? Charlotte, you live in Paris.
Yeah, living away from the epicenter.
Yes. Has that hurt your career or?
Doesn't look like it.
What do you all think? You know, you make choices. You make life choices. You know, if Jennifer wants to sort of be private in her houses, I like to be private in mine. We can all protect our lives, because if we don't protect our private lives, then we're not actually going to be able to get out there and do what we do, because as we've said before, we are so vulnerable out there. We need to be vulnerable. That is part of the game. That is the price we pay, and we go out and we do it. Whatever the consequences, we do it. So we have to have somewhere to come back to be safe, and to be literally just sort of go like that with our kids. It's great if we can have our kids to do it. They bring us the reality that we need. You don't have to be.
You've been have you always been as brave an actor as you have been lately?
I
a
don't
great
think I'm
question.
particularly brave, Jane. It's
Oh
nice
my
of you to say,
God.
but I don't think I'm particularly brave.
What is a brave
I think
actress?
being an actor is being brave, actually. You know,
Yeah,
just
what do you
getting
mean by
out there and
brave
doing
actress?
what we do
is brave
is
for an
brave.
actress?
Is just putting yourself in a situation that is so vulnerable. I mean, when Kate was in, what's the name of the movie that you did with the Harvey?
Holy
And she
Smoke.
walks out, it's nighttime, and she walks out of this building stark naked and urinates on herself. You know.
That's brave.
Well, she likes to remind you.
Was it real pee?
No, it wasn't real. It wasn't real.
How? So if you were look, no,
Because you
can cut
can't
this out.
piss on
Where did
cue.
you put it? How did it happen? Did you?
You can't keep doing it on
No, we did actually do a pee test, because of course I did want to actually do the pissing part if I could, but you know, with when you when you stand up and pee, it doesn't go in a nice stream right down the centre, which is what they wanted. It just races for sanctuary down one side of your leg.
Yeah.
So actually that didn't work when we did the pee test, and I really did pee down my leg. So what we did was we hung a bag of saline drip fluid and dyed it slightly yellow. It was tied to the back of my hair on a small thread, and it just sat happily in the base of my back. And then there was a little tube, which was wedged a certain
And did someone
somewhere.
activate it remotely?
And someone activated it. Yeah.
Did you wedge it? Or
Who
did
had
someone
that?
else
Was that
wedge it?
credited? I wedged it, but I had to say, I wedged it, but I had to say, okay, wedge, check.
Is there anything you wouldn't?
things we
Is there
do.
anything you wouldn't do as an actress?
That's more brave, I think, than peeing on yourself.
It was actually
Who put the tube in its place?
pretty scary, mate.
But he's asking if there's anything more.
Is there anything you would not do
I mean,
as an
after having
actress?
done that, I don't think, you know, you would
Well, there are
could say.
things. See, to me, that's not brave. That's just kind of going, oh, fuck it, you know, get on with it, because you kind of have to. I mean, the things that I personally feel I wouldn't do is I wouldn't be a part of anything that had acts of violence towards children. That's something I wouldn't do. I don't think I'd also do a horror film either. I don't know why, that just doesn't
Oh, I
sit
love horror
well on my
films.
soul. Do you?
I love them.
Do you find them funny?
No, I don't find them funny. I find them scary.
Do you?
But I think it's those
Yeah.
those gratuitous moments, or when you feel like, what is this adding to the conversation, or why is this woman getting beaten up for no reason, or is this going to pay off, or if there's anything degrading, or
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of girlfriend roles out there, but sometimes you read those roles, and they've come my way, and many people have turned them down. And think, oh, maybe I could do something with this. And it's interesting when you get those roles, which seem like nothing on the page, and you kind of subvert them, and you make them into something.
Have you said no to doing something on screen?
Said no to doing something on screen? I don't think so. I mean, I've skinned a squirrel. If I was gonna say no,
Not a real squirrel.
it would. No, not a. Of course, it was a real squirrel. I didn't kill it, but anyway, no, not yet. I would.
What's been your toughest moment as an actress?
I had my first real sex scene a couple weeks ago, and it was really bizarre. It was really weird.
When you say real sex scene, you mean penetration? Or
No. No, yeah, thank you for clarifying that. Real, yeah, that's normal, right? Yeah, it was weird. It was, and everything was done right. It wasn't anybody's fault. Nobody did anything wrong. It's just a bizarre experience.
How do you prepare for that?
You drink. I got really drunk. But then that led to more anxiety when I got home because I was like, what have I done? I don't know. And he was married, and it was going to be my first time even like kissing a married man. And like guilt is like the worst feeling in your stomach. And I knew it was my job, but I couldn't tell my stomach. I called my mom. I was like, will you just tell me it's okay? It was just very vulnerable, and you don't know what's too much, and you don't want to do it real. You want everything to be real, but then you're like.
And did you have direction?
Yeah, I had
Was it
direction.
fun?
Which picture was it?
Some of it was fun.
Yeah.
But it was mostly just.
Which picture?
I'm doing a movie called Passengers right now. Yeah. So that was the most vulnerable I've ever been.
Carrie, what about you? What's your toughest moment been?
I don't know, it's sort of weird, like there's always the things that you think are going to be tough. Like, you know, I've been nude once and I was like, oh, that's going to be a nightmare, and actually that was kind of fine. You know, it's like, oh, fuck it, oh, and now I'm naked and everyone else isn't, this is hilarious. But it's never a single thing. It's more like a whole, it's a whole character. It's like the toughest thing is trying to sell a whole story, you know, when you're I find film really difficult, and trying to make it feel like a consistent character. When
Was Suffragette a difficult role to play?
Yeah, Suffragette was difficult because, you know, she was an ordinary woman, a completely ordinary woman, and then by the end she's almost radicalized, and, you know, trying to make her a consistent person, I guess. That it doesn't seem like one person at the beginning of the story and then suddenly she's just transformed and now she's a really brave woman, you know. And there was lots of kind of tricky stuff in it. But, you know, all the scenes that you always think are really hard are the reasons that you take the jobs.
We burn things because war's the only language men listen to. Because you've beaten us and betrayed us and there's nothing else left.
And there's nothing left but to stop you.
What are you going to do? Lock us all up? We're in every home. We're half the human race. You can't stop us all.
You might lose your life before this is over.
We will win.
You had one scene with Meryl Streep.
Yeah.
What did you talk about off camera?
Well, they didn't have any shoes in her size, so she brought her out of Africa shoes, so we were just like drilling her for a long time, yeah. It was fun.
Did she give you any advice?
No, I mean, I find people like, you know, I'm surrounded by, you know, incredible actresses that I would look to, but people don't bestow advice. They just lead by example, and she leads by example.
You know, I was wondering when you did Room, you have a woman trapped in a sort of dungeon-like setting. I mean, it's outdoors. Did you speak to any women who'd been through that in real life that helped you play that part?
You know, I'm a big believer in privacy, and I didn't feel like it was my place to invade their space and ask them about that, because ultimately what the story is universal, and I didn't want to get into some sort of invasive crime tale.
Do you remember how Alice wasn't always in Wonderland?
She fell down deep in a hole.
Right, well, I wasn't always in Room. I'm like Alice. I was a little girl named Joy.
Nah.
And I lived in a house with my mom and my dad. You would call them Grandma and Grandpa.
What house?
A house. It was in the world. And there was a backyard, and we had a hammock. And we would swing in the hammock, and we would eat ice cream.
A TV house?
No, Jack, a real house, not TV. Are you even listening to me?
I had been given some videos of the very rare times that these girls had done public interviews, and they just broke my heart and made me so angry. And that was sort of the fuel for really wanting to put a lot into that interview scene that's at the end of the movie, because I wanted to expose that sense of the way that we are exploiting someone else's tragedy and pain, and the way that we feel entitled to know more for our own sort of, it's like the staring at a car crash thing.
What was really interesting, and it's interesting you're saying that about the film, is that you think, I have to really prepare myself before I watch this. I don't know how I'm going to deal with it as an audience member. But the first third's in the room, and then one of the most horrifying moments is that interview when you realise she's been through such an unimaginable trauma, and now she's going to have to pay for her legal bills by doing this interview. And the blankness with which you played that moment was, for me, in a way, equally as horrifying as the trauma that she went through in the room.
Yeah, I wanted that to also
really
be the
powerful.
scariest she ever looked. You see her with no makeup and like not how you normally see an actress in a film, just like raw skin, clogged pores. I didn't wash my face for a long time to just get it all gross. And at first you're sort of like, oh God, and then you adjust to it. And then by the time she's got makeup on, you're like, why does anyone put makeup on ever? It's the most bizarre thing to me. I think that's when she looks the most horrific. It's the ugliest she ever is. And you would think it would be perhaps in the trauma or when she has just nothing and it's so bare, but in fact, I think it's that stripped downness and the flaw of it that I think that we love so much. And really, I get off on it when I watch it.
I was interested when you did Truth, that you're playing a real life character, and the version of the Dan Rather story.
There's many
Rather,
versions, depending on who you speak to.
So when you take on a film like that, do you do any investigating and say, okay, do you feel you have to endorse that film's version of the truth?
It's a particular moment in time, and someone's viewpoint has to take you through the story. And it's really about the unhealthy crucible between, our politicians, the centralized media ownership, and the readership. And so that was the bit that interested me. Of course, I met Mary and I talked to her at length, and she's a fascinating, compelling person. But it was about her in free fall.
Andrew asked you to apologize?
He didn't ask.
Dan, that's surrender.
Ever since Burkett changed his story, Andrew feels that CBS can't afford the risk to his reputation.
Oh, God, he knew. Even before we went down there, he just wanted to get Burkett on tape.
Mary, you gotta promise me something. Stop worrying about me.
No, well, that's not gonna happen.
A film is not a documentary. The film's about the demise of investigative journalism. So if the film inspires people to go and read Mary's memoir, or frankly, remember that moment in time, which we've all forgotten. We've got such short-term memories. And that's what's wonderful about film, is that I think that's a real provocation for people. I'd never, ever see film as being an absolute version of the truth. There's, even by the sin of omission, you're guiding people. But if it inspires people to go back and think about Viacom.
Did meeting her lead you to change the performance? Or what point did you meet her?
I was on stage in New York and she came up to see the show and we met and then we Skyped throughout the course of the film. But at a certain point, I had to disconnect and just play because you are playing a character. I mean, you were saying that the other day, Helen, is that you have all these, the people that if you're playing a real life character or a fictional character, they're far more interesting than, the time you have to put it all. So you try and put as much detail in as possible.
And this film came out quite quickly, didn't it?
Yeah.
That's right, because you've also played real life characters. Is it different when you play a real life? I don't know if the woman you played was still alive when you did
No,
the film.
she had passed away, actually, by the time we got to make her story, which is very sad. She never got to see that. Yes, of course it's different, because you have a responsibility to kind of look like them and sound like them and maybe walk like them and use your hands like them.
My aunt, Adele. My uncle commissioned Gustav Klimt to paint her.
That's quite a painting.
It's magnificent. She was taken off the walls of our home by the Nazis. And since then, she's been hanging in the Belvedere Gallery in Vienna.
And now you'd like to be reunited.
Wouldn't that be lovely?
Make you a rich woman, I'm sure.
Do you think that's what this is about?
But the essential journey is exactly the same, really, as with a fictional character, which is a journey of imagination, I guess, and the journey of telling a story. The great thing about playing a real-life character is you don't have to make up all that backstory stuff. Truth is always so much more interesting than fiction, isn't it? I always think, when I'm in a bus, I do take the bus, and I look at people in London, or not here, but in London, and I look at every single person in a bus queue, and every single one of you has the story of a movie in you. Every single one of you, every single person on this planet has the most amazing, incredible story behind them.
Do you look at other films and think, okay, I'm going to draw from this performance when you do your own?
I do, yeah.
Huh.
I take from people all the time.
Can you tell us an example?
No, not really. But it's the same. That's what we do, or what I do with people. You just watch them. I didn't. never go to like acting classes or anything. You can just watch people. And
I always think on-screen babies and animals are my inspiration.
Really? The free, well, because of their freedom.
They are so brilliant. They are so alive and there, and not messed up in their heads the way I am, you know.
Are you?
Yes, all the time on the set. Oh God, absolutely. You know, like, ugh.
Do you all feel like
my
that
hair's
when you're
wrong
performing?
and whatever.
That.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's part of it.
Yeah.
And all you need is one moment of flow, and then you're back and you're addicted. And so,
yes,
you know, it's either, well, if it could all be like that, but it can't. It's monkey bars, you know, you're constantly reaching for that moment. It's like one of my favorite moments is on stage when you see a dancer leap. And you think they're flying, and then they fall. And, you know, but it's that moment of suspension that you look for, and sometimes you get it, and sometimes you don't.
I'm always inspired, quite literally, by actresses who are older than me. I mean, really, truly, I am, because I know that person has lived so much more life than I have, and to bring that amount of history to the screen through a character, it does take. It takes energy, I think probably more energy than when you're younger. When you're younger, you've only lived a certain amount of life and you have your stuff in your little emotional toolbox. But as you get older, I mean, I know this having had children, and Kerry, you'll know this, like the next role you play, I'm so excited for you because you'll go, oh wow,
watch out.
There's a whole other toolbox that I didn't know I had been given. But I do find that with, I mean, your performance in...
Well, in 45 years, did you find
Charlotte,
that?
I mean,
Charlotte, was it harder playing that than it would have been when you were in your 20s?
Would have had to been called 10 years.
Not harder, but it was supercharged. All I want now is for you to just come to the party tomorrow.
Of course I'm going to come.
And I really need you to want to be there.
Yes, I do want to be there.
Because it's one thing me knowing I haven't been enough for you. It's something altogether different that everyone else feels it too.
Boy, you really believe you haven't been enough for me?
No, I think I was enough for you. I'm just not sure you do. Because what Kate says, you become more and more charged with your life, not only with your life, but with the life that you're observing, because we're observing also lives all the time, but with the life that we are performing. So we have a you know, a very big toolbox. And I was like you, Kate, when I was younger, I was actually looking forward to getting older, to have more of it, more insight, more understanding, maybe some obviously much more experiences, but that this could give me the food for future performances.
Do you feel you have more understanding now?
Yes, I do. I'm much more tolerant with others and with myself, which means that I have got to a certain understanding, because I'm not in rebellion all the time. I'm not fighting I'm not angry so much. I'm not all the things that certainly. But they're useful, all those things, when we're younger, all those feelings. They're really useful because they fire us, they lead us on, as long as they don't get out of control, and then they're not unlivable, but they're useful feelings, those very strong feelings that we have.
Jane, do you agree with that? You had very strong feelings as a young woman. Have they mellowed, or are they still strong?
They're still strong, but they're tempered in a way. I mean, they're strong to where they keep me up at night, but it has nothing to do with acting. I mean, I feel very lucky because I've always had things in my life that were as important to me as acting. In fact, I left acting for 15 years. And the fact that I got to come back is kind of amazing. I feel very blessed, but I just think it's really nice to have another life. For me, it was activism.
What keeps you awake at night, then, if it's not?
Melting ice, Arctic.
Yes.
What just happened in France? What's happening in the world? I mean, not 2 hours go by that I don't think, I'm here, I'm so privileged, I'm so lucky to be with these people, and we're talking about this, and the world is falling apart. And I don't know if we can do anything about it in time. And that can keep me up at night. I took too much for granted when I was younger. You know, I didn't really want to be an actor. I didn't really love it. And so I made a lot of mistakes and everything. Oddly enough, when I came back after being gone for 15 years and came back in my 60s, I care much more about it now. I feel like a complete novice.
God, how lovely.
Much more
How
exciting.
lovely. What a fantastic feeling.
Is it harder to do? You did a very brief role in Youth, but a very defined character. Is it harder when you do something brief like that than when you do a long part? And how much do you think in preparing for it?
Sometimes I prepare a lot and sometimes I don't. This particular was, Al Pacino said there's this role that was like written for you, but another actor was cast in it. So when the other actor dropped out, I hadn't even read the script, but I said to my agent, go after it for me. And I accepted it because I wanted to work with Paolo Sorrentino.
Yes.
Because I thought, you know, I didn't get to work with Fellini, you know, or Antonioni.
Yes.
And so this is a real opportunity to work with somebody who's very special, very different. And I loved Il Divo and The Great Beauty. He won an Academy Award for The Great Beauty. So when I read the scene, finally, I thought, wow, this is great. How many years have we known each other, Mick?
Jesus, put me on the spot. Let me count.
53 years. How many films have we done together?
9, 10.
11. So after 53 years of friendship and 11 films together, you don't think I'm going to start to bullshit you now, do you? You, of all people?
No, I don't. I wouldn't deserve that.
That's right. You don't deserve it. It's sometimes very difficult. You know, when you're a guest star in a TV series coming in, it's very, very hard because everybody has their rhythm and, you know, and you're just kind of coming in. But a scene like Sorrentino gave me in Youth, it's so complete unto itself and it's so specific that it was pretty easy.
Have you seen the film?
I've seen it 3 times.
Do you like watching yourself?
No, no. Although I do. I mean, I watch dailies.
You
How
do.
many, how
yeah.
many of you watch dailies?
Dailies, that's almost an old-fashioned
Yes,
sort of...
people have dailies anymore.
Name for...
Do you like to watch yourself?
They don't
Playback.
play
Playback. Right? Is that what you mean?
Do you
Like
watch,
in the moment?
do you like
You
to
can
watch
get it on
yourself,
DVDs
Jennifer?
or
Do you watch?
I don't like to watch myself, but if I'm keep getting a direction and I'm not doing it, or if we're just not communicating, then I'll just say, let me watch it. And then when I watch it, then I'm like, oh, okay, I know what I need to do.
Yeah, I learned so much by watching.
Yeah, I do too. I know it's hard to do it, but I think it's really important to actually go back and watch yourself.
Yeah.
Like,
I find it easier when you're watching it in the moment versus after. Because in the moment, I feel like I'm trying to fix something.
Yeah.
So I'm in the process of it. And so I don't even, there's no real judgment of myself or what the product is. I'm just going like,
yeah,
well,
okay,
I have
now
to
I
get
can do
that. I got to get that thing that I really need to get across there. But afterwards, like the first time,
I can't watch anything.
you can watch
I
it.
can't ever watch a single
can't.
playback. I
Not even
can't.
playback.
Nothing.
I can watch
never
it, but I
watched
have to put my
playback.
fingers in my ears.
I have to go.
Oh, yes,
yeah,
yeah, the
Yeah, I
voice.
can't.
the voice is the worst.
Yeah,
When they
I can stare at my double
accidentally-
chin all I want, but hearing this androgynous
You don't have
voice, you
Yeah,
can't even tell what sex I am.
really have to turn the sound down. Or even when sound is, the sound department are playing something back to check
Oh,
it.
so
I hear your own
hear
voice
it,
coming.
yes.
I'm the
People are,
same way.
mucking around getting a cup of
Yes.
tea, and the whole performance. I'm
Yes.
like, oh, switch it off.
Yeah.
I find that very bizarre.
I
Very
remember I
weird
produced
feeling.
on Golden Pond, and I was curious that Katharine Hepburn never went to dailies. Because she was a complete control freak.
Yeah.
And I know that she used to. And I said, how come you're not coming to dailies, Miss Hepburn? She said, a point came with Lion in Winter where all I could see were the wrinkles.
Wow.
And I realized that I had lost the ability to see what was right for the movie, and I've never gone to dailies since.
Wow, that's great.
Which I think was interesting. But I agree with you. It's much easier to do it at the time than seeing it afterwards. That's really hard. How many times have you seen Room?
I've seen it 4, and I want to see it more, but I've gotten...
Why?
Because it means so much more than my little brain can comprehend when I was making it. And you only see it really from, like I lived it through Ma. So now I can see it as a bigger picture. It's like the more I watch it, it feels like my view gets bigger and I see it. I mean, the first time I watched it, I felt nothing. I just felt so fascinated by it. It's like a series of images of your life from a year before. We're like, oh, that's what the back of my head looks like.
Do you learn from watching yourself?
No, I've never learned anything from myself.
Have you?
But
I'll learn, like kind of like probably like an athlete watches playback. I'll see myself, and I'll either see a habit and see myself doing something and go, I don't want to do that, or that looks fake, or don't do that, or you've done that too much. I can critique
But don't
it.
you find that sometimes you get actors who find tics or management that they like and they start reusing those?
Yes.
Who? Really?
And that becomes their career.
Right.
That becomes
How do you-
who they
I
are.
try to keep my eye
And-
on repeating something.
How do you not do that?
Well,
Each person is a new person. Each
mean,
time
do
you're
the
doing
same
it, kind of
reuse
reuse
old
new
tricks.
it's
which,
all
which could become your sort of
reacting.
sweet identity.
It becomes your sweet identity. Yes.
Or an annoying one.
You work with David O. Russell on Joy. Is it helpful to work with the same people over and over?
Incredibly. We have such a shorthand. I actually had to apologize to this director of Passengers because I kept interrupting him, and I wasn't even meaning to be rude. But David can start to talk, and I know exactly what he's going to say.
You said to me that David Selznick, the son of immigrants, married Jennifer Jones, an all-American girl from Oklahoma, because in America, all races and all classes can meet and make whatever opportunities they can, and that is what you feel when you reach into people's homes with what you sell. You said that.
We have such a shorthand, and it's so honest because we don't have to go through the getting to know each other period or being polite to each other. It's just real and immediate. It's incredibly. I want to work with him until one of us dies.
And you probably will. Damn it.
He's very good. What makes a great director?
Communication. Confidence.
Someone who listens.
I think a good parent.
Yeah.
Like what makes a good dad.
Which is?
Where you feel like you can really just like go for it and do the big swing, but if you strike out, they're like, it's all right, just try it again.
Yeah.
The sense for me is that if I can feel like I can fail and continually fail, and there's no sense of judgment, because I do think that's the awkward thing about it. I felt for so long that it was this awkward handshake where it was like, oh, okay, director, I will perform for you. And the director's like, okay, yes, and I will support that and also judge you at the monitor. But then as I got older, I went, oh, actually, that's just my dad issues talking. This is actually more of a symbiotic relationship. And in fact, if I can't take these giant leaps, and I did it, I used to say it to Lenny on Room all the time. Anytime I had to do a big, huge scene, I'd be like, it's gonna be bad. I just felt the need to just go like, it's gonna be bad. I'll just like completely blow it out of the water. It'll probably be way too much, but at least I did it, and then I got the badness out.
No, but it's also, by saying that, it's like you're creating the space where you can say, I might fuck up here, but if I fuck up, I might discover something which we can use. And so you have to put yourself, the most difficult thing, it's first day of school, isn't it? Is you have to embarrass yourself in front of everybody, because in doing that, you go, okay, now we can all start. Anything can happen.
That's why I have trouble with rehearsals. I find rehearsals like embarrassing. I'm like,
it's hard.
like I don't like acting unnecessarily. It embarrasses me.
Roundtable read-throughs I find
excruciating.
Excruciating.
Terrible.
Have you acted on stage?
Half acting.
No, I never have.
Would you?
I would. I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I'm scared of it. I don't know if it's a different animal. I don't know if it's the same animal. I don't know.
Kate, is it?
You know what? You're really, I've just carried it into film as well. It's an ensemble effort. And, you know, when you're the audience gives you so much, the other actors give you so much. Both mediums feed each other. I know more now how to use a wide shot because of working
theatre,
in a frame and the stage. And I know much better how to be present and immediate and intimate with a 6 or 1,000-seat house because of doing a close-up. They do kind of.
Collaboration is
so
on screen.
important.
You are. It's your eyes and it's your soul. Everything.
Do that.
Real.
Oh, you did that great.
Yeah, that's my
Scarily great. You've played the same role, the Queen, on stage and on film. How is it different?
You had to talk louder, basically.
That's what it was.
I wish you could have microphones on the stage. There's a lot of stage actors, that's absolutely anathema to say that. But shouting in the dark, Michael Campbell called it.
Yes.
It's much more than that. It's absolutely what Kate says. Kate says the great thing is to be able to use your whole body and express through the whole of your body as much as through this kind of thing. As she says, it's like a long shot, really, basically.
I mean, film acting, it is... I did a lot of theatre when I was much younger, like until I was sort of 15, 16. And then when I did a film when I was 17, I remember having to be helped a lot to just bring my energy back into myself because I wasn't used to not saying things really, really loudly. I wasn't used to not whispering like that, to be able to actually really whisper.
Yeah.
God, I couldn't believe that was such a luxury
so
to
great.
me. And it still is such a luxury to be able to do nothing and know that the nothing that you're doing, which is so important in that moment of nothingness, is actually going to be picked up by a camera. And that is different on stage.
If you played your Steve Jobs role on stage, the film has a play-like quality. How would you play the role differently?
Louder.
Shout it out.
But it's
But it must have been so great to do those continuous long
God, I can't tell you. I mean, I really, I wanted to be a part of this film because I knew it was going to be a very, very unique experience. And it absolutely was because of the construction of it. It's written, as you say, in 3 acts. And so the only way to do that was to fully rehearse it like a play and absolutely learn it as such.
I love you, Steve. You know how much. I love that you don't care how much money a person makes. You care what they make. But what you make isn't supposed to be the best part of you. When you're a father, that's what's supposed to be the best part of you. And it's caused me 2 decades of agony, Steve, that it is for you. The worst.
And we wouldn't have been able to retain that dialogue, I don't think, and to feel free with it if we hadn't have drummed it in and really drilled it in the way that we did in rehearsal. We had 10 full days of rehearsal for each act, and then we would stop rehearsing and go and shoot it. And then production would stop, and we'd go back into a rehearsal room.
Oh, so that is really close to theatre.
That's very unusual.
It was so unusual.
Like Sidney Lumet used to do that.
Yeah,
He did a film with Sidney Lumet.
Absolutely.
He did exactly that.
Really.
You rehearsed it like a play, you ran it, and then you went and shot it.
I'd only done it once before on something that I did with Roman Polanski, but this was completely different because it did call for everybody to be in the room. And it was that great thing of just, wow, you can turn to another actor who's got 3 lines in Act 1 and say, that was shit, wasn't it, the way we just did it? Okay, yeah, confirmed, it doesn't work like that. Okay, so let's make another mistake. And then you get all the mistakes out the way. And it was just great because by the time we walked onto the set, we were already on performance 70. We weren't on day 1 or day 2. I mean, and that was a real lesson actually, because you're right about the thing in the rehearsal room of being so awkward on film. It's so uncomfortable and you feel all a bit silly for the first at least 3 days. But actually, the rehearsal was so beneficial that it's really made me rethink, what happens next, saying to a director or producer, look, please, could we rehearse and have everybody in the room as much as possible? Because it honestly made a huge difference just to how included everyone felt and how confident everyone was. We were fully given the roles to play and allowed to really play with them. And that was an amazing experience to have that.
I wonder if, we take for granted that there's a certain way that one is meant to make a film. You start on day 1 and you finish on day 30 or whatever, depends how much CGI there is. But I wonder if you did shoot a bit, rethink, go back, I wonder if there'd be more female directors. Because I think that a lot of women, you think, with the pre-production, the shooting, the post-production, and the endless amount of publicity, that's kind of 2 years of your life. And that I think a lot of women, particularly women with families, then think, how am I going to manage this?
Do you think Carol should have been directed by a woman?
I think working with Todd's like a girlfriend more than anyone.
Absolutely, Kate.
More than anyone that I've ever met. He has his sense of, and I feel I really connected with him in that way, is that people's gender is not my first point of engagement with them. And it's not with Todd. And if you look at all the great roles that women have played, I mean, he asked me to play Bob Dylan, for fuck's sake. So no, I mean, I felt that he and Rooney and I were absolutely together, like you were saying, without that sense of judgment, completely inside, alongside. And we had a tiny bit of
Why are there not more
rehearsal.
female directors? What can be done to change this? Because it hasn't changed in decades.
I think what Kate's just saying actually is, it actually literally hadn't occurred to me because we are all being asked this question a lot at the moment. And I think you're right, Kate. It is so much to do with the fact that most of us do have families and, the commitment for a director on a film is a whole year, if not more.
But I can ask this because I don't have children.
And
What is the difference between, men who direct have families too.
I think there's still an expectation
Yeah.
that someone's going to be keeping the home fires burning.
Yeah,
I think,
that's right.
you know, it's like, look at any business executive, business hours, even though work hours should be flexible because of the, you know, the internet, it's not based around school pickup time. So you're
Exactly.
forced to make a choice.
Yeah, and my husband is a very
you know,
present husband, actually, as well, and that has made just actually going to work feel easier. I don't feel guilty, you know, and sure, we all go together and all that jazz, but the hours are what we know the hours are. And I definitely feel less guilt because I know he's there doing breakfast, lunch and supper if I'm not there for those 3 meals. But I think that's really true, Kate, that I mean, I just work with an Australian director, Jocelyn Morehouse, and she has 4 children. She's married to PJ Hogan, and 2 of her children are autistic, and for sure, it's much harder for her. But definitely, I mean, she hasn't directed that many films, and and it is because of her family and wanting to absolutely
Do you worry about that? Do you think, okay, because you're working all the time now, do you think at some point I'm going to take a break to have a family, or do you not look ahead like that?
I don't look ahead like, I mean, I'm sure, I mean, hopefully I will. I do want to be a mother, but it's not, I don't need to think about it right now. I really only think about work.
Wow, good or bad?
But it's not that you have to have a family. I mean, I only mentioned it because I think there could be a creative possibility in there, but also maybe a shift in the demographic of directing fraternity.
But girls, what do we do about it?
Well,
What
no,
do we
but I was
actually
just thinking
do
that
about
it's
it?
interesting that there's like so many different sides of this that women get frustrated that, you know, we don't get paid enough, and then the Republicans or the CEOs that are men say, well, it's because women take off time for maternity leave, or because of women. So it's interesting to hear
Because it's our fault,
a woman,
obviously.
but a woman say, well, yeah. Because we are mothers, and it is different. Than
We're
being a
continuing the
father.
human race for you. You're welcome.
It is.
Somebody does.
But you physically can't do what your husband is doing right now. You are physically feeding your baby with your body, and your husband can't do that.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things is that more women have to be in charge of studios so that they can green light films with women.
But they were in
To
charge.
some extent it does.
A few years ago, there were 3 or 4 women running the studios.
I think women can be just as sexist.
Right.
As men. Women can be misogynistic too. More so, they have more freedom to do it.
It's economic, isn't it? You just the economics have to change.
Well, why would people have confidence in a female director when there are so few? What is it, like 3% or something?
2,
I don't,
less.
Between 1 and 11, I think, every year.
So there's not going to be a lot of confidence in a female director, and then that has to filter into maybe we don't have confidence in ourselves because there's so little confidence.
Would you ever direct?
I would love to direct.
Huh.
But I love writing right now because I can write and
What
act
advice
and
can you
act at
give
the
her
same
as a
time.
director?
You're looking at me.
You've directed a lot.
I mean, I think, one, in the theatre, but I haven't, I've been asked to direct film a couple of times, but it's once again, it's like, that is a big...
I directed a short film, a half-hour film. The advice I was given, sit down a lot. Robert Altman told me that. Just sit down a lot. Be prepared, absolutely be prepared.
You have to watch.
Watch, yes.
But I think
it's incredible fun.
to literally give someone something active to do, it's spend money. Like, go, if you want more, we need to just literally, and I'm so guilty of this, but like, if you hear about a film that's made by a woman, go and see it, regardless of whether you're interested or not, so that it makes some money. Because it's only money that's going to change.
Yes.
And Ava DuVernay was saying so interestingly about the year that she was offered Selma, and she was in the Sundance Institute with another guy, and they spent the whole year doing all these festivals together, and they were all kind of, you know, and the films were equally as successful and equally well reviewed. And at the end of the year, she was like, oh, I've been given this money to make this film, Selma. And her friend was like, yeah, me too. I'm making Jurassic Park. You know, and it was like...
yeah.
You know, you did a film with a pioneering woman director, Liliana Cavani, of The Night Porter, very controversial film. Did you think at that point this was the beginning of a new era for women? And do you look back and say, wow, it wasn't?
Well, no, I think it's because what we've been saying about women, that really is a choice. Women, you know, women do an awful lot of things. They have an awful lot of jobs to do in life. And there's not that much time in a day to be able to do all these jobs. And we well know that we are the ones that do the mothering. You know, men are very good at it, but they've got other things to do, and they always have had other things to do. And we know in the end we're going to be doing the mothering jobs and keeping the sort of 3 meals on the table and this, that, and the other. So it's for me, it's a question of choice. Liliana Cavani, she wanted more than anything to work and to be directing pictures, and that's what she did. And she carried on all her life doing that because that's what she wanted, and she made it happen. So if a woman is determined, she will get what she wants because we are very determined creatures, and if we have a little bit of talent as well with that determination, that's what we will do. But there will be a moment when we want to be mothers too. We want to look after our babies. We want to take time off.
Or there will be a moment where you say, I would love the opportunity to work with a bigger budget. You know, it's interesting, and we've all made them. Those really low budget gems of pictures which you wouldn't make with any other people. But it's like, you know, say I'm Australian and I run a theatre company there. I am so proud of the cultural product that is made there and is exported but consumed there. But is it the only country in which I wish to work? No. It's like women want to work with different side. You want to exercise different muscles, and it's that opportunity which is not always afforded.
Speaking of exercising different muscles, you said you'd play Bob Dylan. Is there a male role that you wish you could have played?
I'd love to play Hamlet.
Has been played, but I think Sarah Bernhardt played Hamlet.
Yes, and then someone else, Fiona Shaw.
Yeah, I think Fiona Shaw did one.
Did she do Hamlet? She did Richard II and...
I did do Prospero.
Yes, right. They're all Shakespeare roles.
But, there's always male roles I want to play. I'm so annoyed when I watch movies and go, that could have been played by a woman, and that could have been played by a woman. There's nothing to stop that being a woman. And it's driven me crazy in my career to watch wonderful actresses, really their careers kind of diminish and disappear, and mediocre actors carry on, male actors.
Bullock is doing that now.
It's so annoying.
Saying, I'll do it.
Just change the name is all you need to do, you know, that's all you need to do. And there's all this crap about, I can't write roles for women, I just don't understand them. It's like, you don't have to.
Yeah, I had that opportunity with the director, and I was saying, this is a really interesting script, and it would stop it being formulaic if you had a woman playing one of that team. And they're thinking, yeah, we have to rewrite it. And I said, you don't have to change the dialogue.
Absolutely, of course not.
You know, and I think that's the thing, is they have to write it with a female what is a female sensibility? I mean, how diverse are the films that we're, that we're all in?
When you did China Syndrome, that was a role written for a man, and you said, I'm going to play it, and it became a woman's role. Did they change it a lot?
Yeah, we did. We changed it a lot.
Is there a male role you wish you could have played?
No.
Is there a role you wish you could have played that you didn't?
I'm sure there's plenty I should have, but I don't think of that way very much. It's just a waste of time.
Absolutely.
Anybody else? What about Brie? Is there a role you go, God, I wish I could have played that part?
Indiana Jones.
Interesting.
James Franco, Pineapple Express.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
I just watched Pineapple Express actually again the other day.
It's brilliant.
Yeah, that would be
James Franco.
Oh, do you have a favourite movie, not your own, that you like to watch over and over?
My favourite movie would never be my own.
One of my favourite movies is, and it had a huge influence on me at high school, and actually made me think I really want to be either an actor or a director, was They Shoot Horses, Don't They?
Oh, yes.
I mean, that performance of yours was, I will be on my deathbed and I'll recall it. It was,
Is there an actor or actress, not around this table, that you would really love to work with?
All of my answers are here.
At this table. Most of my answers would be involved with this table.
Jenna Rollins, I think.
I was just going to say that Cassavetes.
Yes.
For me, Anna Magnani.
Oh,
The
yes.
goddess.
Amazing.
Of film acting for me.
Charlotte?
Monica Vitti.
Yeah.
I think I'd love to work with Toni Collette, to be honest. I'm a huge fan of Toni.
I'd see that movie.
She's so I just think she's just very daring, and I just admire her choices, and I admire her intensity and her vulnerability, and I just think she's a cracker. An absolute cracker.
She's a cracker.
Yeah.
And the other one, I think, did I hear you were going to play Katharine Hepburn?
I have
She did. And won an Oscar for it.
Lucille Ball, we're doing something with Lucille Ball, who's one of my all-time favorites.
Yes.
She's
Fantastic. Are you playing Lucille Ball?
That's the plan, unless they change
Carrie,
their
how
mind.
about you?
I genuinely reference everyone around this table all the time when I'm asked this, because I've said this so many times. I feel like, everyone around this table makes such bold choices, and that's something I'm always nervous that I'm passive, and I'm so I take inspiration from every single person.
Anyone in the past?
Marion Cotillard, I've always wanted. But I also feel like I don't want to be on the same screen as her. Everything just feels so real, and there's nothing. She's not doing anything. She's not acting. It's so, and I would feel like you would see through,
Jane,
whatever
how
I was
about you?
doing.
The two people I would have said I did work with, Vanessa Redgrave and Meryl. Meryl did her first movie in Julia.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, make it happen. I'd like to thank all of you really so much for just a wonderful roundtable. I so appreciate it. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. And you managed to get us all to at least mention our film.